Good evening, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Irtundada Inhamachlan. For our top stories, Mongolian government reviews progress and sets bold goals. Mongolian-British business ties flourish at MBCC's Doing Business with Mongolia seminar. Influenza and pneumonia cases surge among children. Long queues persist even on weekends. For other news, stay tuned. The Mongolian cabinet held an emergency meeting on December 20th, led by Prime Minister Oyurtun. The meeting focused on reviewing the first 100 days of the government's action plan, preliminarily year-end economic data, and addressing Ulaanbaatar's air pollution crisis. The Prime Minister highlighted key economic achievements. Mongolia's economy is showing steady growth at 5%, with foreign exchange reserves expected to exceed $5 billion by the end of the year. The state budget has a surplus of 1.3 trillion MNT, and exports have reached a historic 15.7 billion MNT, including a record-breaking 81.8 million tons of coal. A major outcome of the meeting was the announcement of the National Wealth Fund, named the Chinggis Fund, to symbolize the national prosperity. The fund has allocated 4 trillion MNT for the Future Heritage Fund, with 495 billion MNT designated for individual citizen savings account. Starting on December 20th, citizens can access their funds equivalent to 135,000 MNT through the e-Mongolian platform. These savings can be used for health, education, and housing. Several large-scale projects were also advanced. The government finalized financing for the Irtunburung hydropower plant, approved plans for a coking plant in Bagnor, and resolved Qashun-Sukhait-Qansmod railway agreements. Energy collaboration with neighboring countries and global wealth funds was also discussed. Additionally, Development Bank of Mongolia was restructured under an Exim Bank model to enhance operations. Air pollution in Ulaanbaatar remains a critical issue, and the government approved measures to tackle it. These include using 1% of enterprise tax revenue from late 2024 and 2025 to fund pollution reduction efforts. Urban congestion and waste management challenges will also be addressed through comprehensive legislation. The government reaffirmed its commitment to long-term development, supporting projects like the Harharum City initiatives, the Hunnu Satellite City, and the Toll Highway. Ulaanbaatar's General Development Plan through 2040 was also reviewed. Prime Minister Oyurtun concluded by urging citizens and businesses to join efforts to ensure Mongolia's sustainable development and tackle national challenges. For the past 15 years, the Mongolian-British Chamber of Commerce has been a cornerstone in promoting robust business ties between Mongolia and the United Kingdom. On December 10th, MBCC held its flagship annual event, the Doing Business with Mongolia seminar, hosted at the RWK Goodman offices in London, with the generous support of senior partner Dominic Prentice.
Here with us, some familiar faces.
Chaired by John Grogan, chair of Mongolian-British Chamber of Commerce, the seminar featured a dynamic lineup of speakers, each an authority in their field. Bim Ikhbayer from TV9 Mongolia shared insights on the media sector, while Arun Jaralkanzarag of Ana Kashmir and Dolovjav Amarsekhan of Motherland unveiled their luxury Mongolian Kashmir brand and a new website, respectively. Seret Ichokhorlov, B2B Mongolia, provided an overview of the current economic climate and introduced his business delegation from Mongolia.
So it's our 15th year as the Mongolian-British Chamber of Commerce, our 15th year with our Christmas drinks and Doing Business with Mongolia seminar. And there was a lot of enthusiasm in the room. We heard speeches from Mongolian and British people about everything from critical minerals to Kashmir, to the media sector in Mongolia. And we're lucky to hear the British ambassador to Mongolia, who was on a trip back to London with the UB mayor. She reported to us, and so it was a great evening, and it sets us up for next year when in February, on the 26th of February in London, there will be the 15th UK Mongolia Roundtable, which brings together Britain and Mongolia at the very highest level. So I'd just like to wish all members of the British Chamber of Commerce and all citizens of Mongolia and the United Kingdom a very happy new year when it comes.
It's fantastic to be back in London and to be at the Mongolia-British Chamber of Commerce event tonight. It's been such a busy year in the bilateral relationship. We had the first visit of a foreign minister from the UK to Mongolia in 13 years in April. We signed a number of cooperation agreements together. Both our countries held democratic elections, and in the UK our government changed, and the new Minister for Asia, her first overseas visit anywhere was to Mongolia to attend the World Women's Forum, and so it's been a great year. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to do together next year, and I've been talking to lots of businesses here in the UK who want to come and invest in Mongolia, and talking about how we can grow the Mongolian and the British economy by working together in 2025. So Happy New Year, looking forward to a good year next year.
Adding a cultural dimension, Michael Eldred from the Royal Society of Arts announced the upcoming 2027 exhibition, The Art of the Mongol World, promising to further highlight Mongolia's rich heritage. The event concluded with remarks from Fiona Blight, the UK ambassador to Mongolia, who emphasized the value of international collaborations. As the clock struck 7:30 p.m., the seminar transitioned into a festive Christmas reception offering traditional Mongolian cuisine. The highlight of the evening was an enchanting performance by young Mongolian opera singer Timurlen Jump, who serenaded the audience with a soulful Buryat ethnic song. The event drew local attendees, prominent speakers, and business delegation from Mongolia, all celebrating the transformative power of strategic partnerships. The gathering not only reinforced the deep ties between Mongolian and British business communities, but also showcased the vast potential for future collaborations. Attendees left with a renewed sense of enthusiasm and optimism for what the future might bring.
And we were thrilled to host.
The National Center for Maternal and Neonatal Health is facing a significant influx of young patients as cases of influenza and pneumonia surge, with long queues of parents seeking medical attention persisting even on weekends.
This year's influenza virus, exacerbated by bacterial infections, has taken a heavy toll on children. Over 300 have been hospitalized, 19 of whom are in intensive care. The majority present symptoms such as high fever, leaving parents in urgent need of help. Parents report waiting at least 1 to 2 hours to receive care, with lines stretching throughout the day, despite it being a weekend. Despite an increased number of doctors on duty, the hospital remains overwhelmed by the high volume of cases. Experts warn that some parents attempt at-home treatments, delaying professional intervention and worsening their children's conditions. The center urges families to seek immediate medical care for severe symptoms and stresses preventive measures like vaccination and hygiene. The surge underscores the urgent need to bolster healthcare capacity to manage the seasonal wave of illnesses effectively.
Emergency room doctors are seeing 200 to 300 children daily, a figure that is 2 to 3 times higher than usual. This year's influenza virus, compounded by bacterial infections, has resulted in severe cases that require longer treatment and longer healing periods.
Even though we were discharged, we are having complications again. The baby is having a fever and lost his appetite. We can't even breastfeed him. We are waiting in line for an hour. We even called emergency. The kid has a fever of 39 degrees. He has had a fever since 3 a.m. I administered a suppository and have now come here to seek medical help.
Common symptoms are a runny nose, coughing, and fever. We already sought help from a neighborhood hospital. Condition was not getting better, so we came here.
The financial burden of treatment adds to families' challenges. The cost of influenza medication and treatment averages at least 50,000 Mongolian tugruks, and many parents are forced to take leave from work to care for sick children. Experts emphasize the importance of preventive measures such as vaccination and hygiene practices to curb the spread of the virus and reduce the burden on families and the healthcare system. The surge highlights the pressing need for enhanced healthcare resources and community awareness to mitigate the impact of seasonal illnesses.
You're watching News Mongolia. Let us take a look at currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's shift our attention to foreign news provided by our international partner news agencies. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Interior Minister Nancy Faeser on Saturday visited the city of Magdeburg, where at least 2 people were killed and dozens were injured after a car plowed into a busy Christmas market in what officials have called a deliberate attack.
They were joined by Saxony-Anhalt Governor Rainer Erich Hasselhoff on a walk through the market. On Friday, a Saudi doctor intentionally drove a black BMW into a Christmas market teeming with holiday shoppers, killing at least 2 people, including a small child, and injuring at least 60 others. Authorities arrested a 50-year-old man at the site of the attack Friday evening and took him into custody for questioning. He has lived in Germany for nearly 2 decades, practicing medicine in Bernburg, about 40 kilometers south of Magdeburg, officials said. Several German media outlets identified the man as Talib A, withholding his last name in line with privacy laws, and reported that he was a specialist in psychiatry and psychotherapy.
Croatia observed a day of mourning on Saturday in the wake of a knife attack at a school in the capital, Zagreb, which left a child dead and 4 people wounded. On Friday morning, a knife-wielding teenager walked into an elementary school in the city's western neighborhood of Preko and stabbed several children and a teacher before running to a nearby healthcare center where he tried to kill himself.
A 7-year-old child was killed in the attack, while 3 other children, a 50-year-old teacher and the attacker, were all taken to city hospitals. The suspect, later confirmed to be a 19-year-old former student of the school with a history of mental health problems, was apprehended by the police, who arrived at the scene within minutes. Preko Elementary School caters to children aged 7 to 15 and has some 470 pupils from the surrounding area. Friday was the year's last day of school before Christmas holiday. According to media reports, none were in life-threatening condition, although the teacher suffered 31 stab wounds and was placed in intensive care. The attack shocked the nation, as school attacks in Croatia are very rare. Zagreb Mayor Tomislav Tomašević visited the school within hours, and Prime Minister Andrej Plenković declared Saturday a day of national mourning. Education unions announced a march next week to call for the government to step up security measures at school.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Goodbye.